today we will be using quantum technology thinking and being in addressing one of the most important topics and phenomena in life, which is success. How to be successful. First of all, what I would like to highlight is that what mostly people mean by success is actually something else. They usually are referring to fame, wealth, great reputation, being liked, desirable, and also to some extent being that great, healthy state in their lives like an athlete can perform. Any of those high-end, so to say, accomplishments in life as a success. But most people don't achieve it, do they? We have a few people in general, very small portion, who are actually well known or acknowledged or registered as universally acceptable figures for success. But most other individuals are not. They are, like possibly many of you who are watching this video, running at a fast pace and not really achieving any of these results and accomplishments. And you may look at yourself as unsuccessful. So here I have a news for you. That is a myth. If you believe that you are unsuccessful, that is actually part of the problem. You see, you have to realize that you are 100% successful. All of us, all human beings are 100% successful, but you have to understand the meaning of that being successful, which goes to the original definition of succeeding. We are succeeding at achieving the goals that we set in our lives. You may be wondering, well, what is this guy talking about? That's kind of a paradoxical statement or misnomer. Aren't you just saying we are not achieving those desired goals? Well, this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. We may consciously set a certain goal. I want to be rich, but never achieve it fully the way we envision consciously, because subconsciously we are actually engaging in behaviors that are not aligned with our conscious mind, which takes us back to that core of quantum being versus quantum thinking that this whole channel is about. Therein lies that dissociation. There is already a disconnection between our conscious ways of planning, decision-making, dreaming, expecting, desiring stuff, and subconscious state of being. And they are in contradiction with each other. So when I say you are successful, 100% successful is the kind of a zero sum. All of us are succeeding at this combination of the subconscious and conscious being in disarray with each other. We are succeeding at the implementation of this very, I would say, type of a misaligned dual realities in our lives. We are actually succeeding at that. We are generally not achieving those high results because of that misalignment, but we are successful at misalignment. So why is that important? Because when we are willing to take accountability, that's very important. Accountability for this type of success at being misaligned, then we can change it. We have to first take accountability. Most people don't take this accountability because in their mistaken beliefs that they're not successful like other famous, wealthy, rich people, despite their best efforts, they are fooling themselves into believing that someone else is responsible and accountable for their failures, for their lack of success, but themselves. And that distortion of reality is very much the root cause of their failures. This distortion, this blind spot, has to be illuminated. And that is what I am sharing with you. So first, understand what we are talking about. If you're talking about succeeding yes, you are succeeding. You're succeeding at existing in this world, at doing the things that you are doing. And as a result of being fully responsible and accountable, whether you admit or not that you're accountable, but at least fully responsible for this implementation of achieving, of putting effort in this very misaligned way, you are getting the results that you earn, more or less. Not necessarily that you deserve, but that you earn. You have earned this state of being. Now, do you want to change that? Do you want to actually earn what you deserve? If you want to achieve what your dreams are telling you you deserve and you would like to have, you have to get rid of that misalignment between the subconscious and the conscious behaviors, between the subconscious and conscious decision making. Now, that would be actually the formula for success in anything. Certain decisions plus actions. Success in anything. You want to be a multimillionaire. You want to be the most desired person, beautiful, healthy, wealthy, fun individual. You got to make a decision and you got to make it take an action. If you put those two together in this most simplistic, focused way, you're going to be able to achieve it. So how come most of us are not really achieving the results we want to achieve? Because there's some problems with these two areas. Either we are not taking actions that are aligned with the decisions, or the decisions are faulty, and or both. So let's take a look at that. In fact, I'm displaying a slide on this one that can highlight it. Now, let's take a little bit of a look at the actions. Many people know what to do or have an inclination of what should be done, but they fail taking actions, and they report something like, well, I'm stuck, or I don't know, I'm not sure, they hesitate. And at extreme levels, they are just too fatigued or too paralyzed, I would say, to take certain action. And those are related to mental health issues, such as depression or anxiety that can be quite debilitated. Many people in the state of depression, they know what to do, but they just don't do it. I have had many clients who have come to therapy and report they know what to do. They have learned it in therapy, but they go home, they just are too depressed to take that action. Or debilitating anxiety, people who just kind of ruminate with a lot of the, and they're preoccupied with a lot of anxiety, anticipation of the worst happening, almost paranoid to a level that they're just afraid to take actions again. So those can be quite extreme versions of not taking action. But then even in the less extreme versions, people can hesitate. They can just kind of vacillate or be wishy-washy or just kind of shy or, unsure, uncertain on what actions to take. Now, those also are quite related to the root causes of the faulty decision making, which we will highlight here. Now, if we can help a person just take action, we have solved 50% of the problem. Now we have to look at, okay, if we have helped the person to be disciplined enough to simply take action on a certain decision they have made, then we have to make sure that the decisions are clean, that they are aligned with a person's ultimate goals. And remember where I mentioned that most decisions that we believe we are making consciously are not actually made or executed based on conscious models. They are more or less executed from an unconscious level of influence. They're impacted by our unconscious. There is a pretty good model that you can probably see in the video right now, a slide on the difference between conscious and subconscious. And the most important part of it that I want to highlight is that the subconscious is the root of our habits. A lot of the habits that we have established in life, they are driven, controlled by our subconscious. For instance, let's say if you have habits of sleeping late, wee hours in the morning, 1-2 a.m. or later, and therefore you get up later in life and you want to change that. Even despite your best efforts to get up early morning, you cannot do it because you just cannot go to sleep. And what is driving that? That's your subconscious driving it. Or again, you want to go to the gym or lose weight, or you want to kind of be on top of a certain, let's say, sales calls and make certain number of calls a day, but somehow you cannot get yourself to engage in the desired activities. What is driving that? What is convincing you not to put the effort? What is keeping you, far away from actually taking that action internally? Is that subconscious that gets you to reiterate the habits that you have established, whether it is sleeping late or not making the calls, kind of foregoing the gym or skipping some schedule and going to work, or eating unhealthy food, whatever that is. Those habits are the main culprits, and what maintains those habits is the subconscious. If we can tap into that subconscious, we have devised a plan of changing that programming, because that's part of us. That's part of you. That's who you are. Your subconscious is you. So, however, it's subconscious. By definition, it is kind of inaccessible. It's not in our present awareness. And certainly, as you may have heard, one of the most evidence-based, empirically proven strategies of learning about your subconscious, tapping into it, etc., is psychotherapy. I understand that. I'm not here to promote psychotherapy, even though I'm generally in favor of it. I'm a psychologist. But I want to give you a little bit of a shortcut, and something much quicker than psychotherapy, talk therapy, or any other type of therapies, to actually tap into that subconscious. And you know what it is? It's emotions, feelings that most people are wary about. They shy away from feeling and emotions and understanding, or literally just feeling their feelings, And that is a very overlooked opportunity. This is a huge window of opportunity, a gateway into our subconscious, understanding our subconscious, that is readily available to all human beings. However, we have been unfortunately not trained in the appropriate way to utilize this gateway and tap into our subconscious. One problem generally, that feelings cause a certain level of discomfort that by nature makes us kind of hesitate going into it. We want to kind of escape that discomfort. Second problem is that culturally we have been somehow told that it is okay to just kind of escape feelings, and there are a bunch of stuff, whether it's distractions, reinforced messages that we get from people that, if you don't feel bad or don't feel sad or don't feel fear, tell people don't feel it. The feeling that is there, we tell them don't feel it. Or we encourage them to snap out of it and just kind of escape it. Many times this is kind of customary and culturally established, that people just have been programmed to shy away from feelings. However, a reason that is a gateway to our subconscious is because that is actually the language of the subconscious. Think about it. Everything you have experienced in life, and everything that has been more or less pushed or suppressed into the subconscious as part of that lifelong experience, has been programmed into something other than language. If it was programmed into language, if it was coded using language, and you have let's say, assume that you have a intact memory, you would be able to recall like every other conscious element that you can recall. What did you do when your first grade, or first year of college, or the first time you were dating somebody, or the first time you rode a bicycle, or whatever? You would probably remember many of these events, and you have, because it has been coded into your language system, you can also remember them and articulate them. But information that has been suppressed and kind of forgotten, pushed into the subconscious, and many non-lingual experiences, procedural experiences, autobiographical experiences, event-related experiences that your mind has absorbed, registered, however not really articulated verbally, they have been registered, but they are outside of the linguistic abilities. So where are they? They are in your mind-body connection, which generally is more accessible using the right brain, or the non-dominant hemisphere of the brain, that is also much more capable of actually accessing emotions. Many times, many of these experiences have a emotional counterpart associated with them. So let's say, for instance, if at times, like maybe, let's say you go into a certain, location where, for instance, let's say you're driving down the freeway, or you go into a community, like you have frequently been there, or maybe neglected for many years, and now you go back there, or you go to specific regions, like I say, the beach or the mountain, etc. You have certain emotions attached to it. Well, those are very much your memories that are being recalled and re-triggered. And an indication for that actually your mind, the body remembers, which is associated with that particular location, is that feeling and emotion that is surfacing. So if you find yourself feeling in a certain way, even if it is uncomfortable, rather than escaping and avoiding it, you want to actually tap into it, utilize it, maximize it, use it. Don't neglect it, don't underestimate it, don't push it aside. Actually illuminate it, highlight it, make a priority out of that. Take it seriously, pay attention to it. Regardless the quality of it and value of it. It can be negative, positive, it can be uncomfortable or comfortable. Whatever it is, cherish it, honor that emotion in you. That is actually you connecting to yourself, connecting to that set of memories and history that comprises you. Once you do that, you actually open that window. That's what you do. You open that gateway into the subconscious, and you allow that subconscious to connect with you. And in fact, it is through this connection that the subconscious can now tell you what is going on. Because again, remember, it doesn't have the ability to communicate with you through language. It doesn't have the words, it doesn't have the sentences and the paragraphs and the logic and reasoning. What it has is feelings, sensations, symbolism. It may very much use any of these sensory experiences. Like I said, an image would be a visual sensory experience that it would create to send you the message what's going on. If you may feel sad or joyful or disappointed or antsy or agitated or whatever it is, and you welcome it, you attend to it, and you honor it, and you want to find out what that emotional state wants to tell you, what the message is, the subconscious is going to deliver that message. Could be through a visual experience, like an image that may surface, or a sensory bodily experience such as temperature, or even like maybe a shiver, or maybe a sense of relaxation, of comfort, maybe a tactile sensation, it would be an olfactory or taste or smell sensation, or even hearing something. You may even just remember by hearing a word in your own mind. That is the gateway, and that is the utility of tapping into the subconscious. Because then what you can do is you can get to know yourself better. You can reconnect with yourself rather than remaining disconnected. You can align the subconscious with the conscious. Now, because most of us dismiss this notion, we tend to engage in a little bit of a defense mechanism, such as rationalization, or I would say projection, and basically convince ourselves that everything problematic is only outside of us. Like internally, we have no problem at all. Anything that is of issue, of importance, that needs to be fixed is just outside. That would be very much some kind of a rationalization, distortion, and also projection. We hold others accountable for our predicament, instead of understanding that no, that this connection that we have between our consciousness and subconscious, that this connection and distance we employ from our own feelings, from our own history, from our own being, is actually the source of the turmoil and problems that we experience in life, because it leads to faulty decisions. We make all kinds of decisions and we don't pay attention where they come from. How come we are making these decisions? And we take the convenient route of simply immediately finding external sources to blame. Well, I made this decision because of this person, because of that person, because I didn't have any other options, because my life was like this, because I am missing this and that. These are all distortions, all fabrication, rationalizations, again, to convince ourselves that, no, I have done my utmost best simply because I intended the best. That's all. Because I intended best, I therefore must have done the utmost best. And if things didn't go my way, it cannot be my fault. It must be other people's fault. This is how we try to escape accountability. And as a result, also engage in self-victimization. Then becomes a vicious cycle. We engage in this over and over and over again and waste precious years of our life, not noticing how we are actually destroying our own life by throwing away time, by throwing away all these beneficial tools that have been actually provided to us internally. If we only can tap into these in the most pragmatic, effective way, we can actually get our subconscious and conscious communicate to each other and align ourselves, our conscious view of things to our subconscious needs, and help create harmony within our subconscious, more or less parts of ourselves, and as a result actually come into harmony with our own self rather than remain disconnected at all times. This is what I call a quantum view of life. It is rooted in the principles I have shared with you in the other videos. If you haven't watched them, please go and watch those, because then all of this makes sense. And as a result, when you are capable of engaging in this mindful, present-minded, alignment with your own self, both conscious and unconscious self, then you create harmony, you create balance. You don't have to live in the past anymore. You don't have to be a victim and a prisoner to those feelings that constantly take you into the past, such as regret and depression and sorrow and basically missed opportunities, sense of disappointments and betrayals and loss. They all keep you imprisoned to the past, or anticipating the next worst thing happening, possibly people taking advantage of you, possibly losing in the next few moments. So fear of the unknown in the future. You don't have to be distracted and hijacked by these kind of opposing views that keep you imprisoned into two different time levels that are completely destructive and waste of time. The most effective thing that any human being can do, and therefore take appropriate actions following good, healthy decisions, is remain present-minded. And the only actually feeling that actually can help us getting there is pleasure, joy, contentment, the security, safety. We can only get through to that sense of security and safety if we have internal balance. If we don't have internal balance, we will never get there. So we have to work on this internal balance. The more balanced we make ourselves, regulate our feelings, emotions, internal mind, align these different components and aspects of ourselves with each other and take responsibility, accountability, knowing that we are 100% successful and therefore also accountable, then we can actually take full control of our lives. Because what happens is that we attend to what is, not what was or what will be. We constantly are, reorienting ourselves to what matters most, what matters now. That's the only thing that is significant, important, as well as alterable, adaptable. It is what is here right now. And we need all our attention and focus to commit to it and do something about what is happening right now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to watch more. Have a wonderful day.